Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Pregame Lobby. I'm your host, Trep, joined by what I could probably say is our new co-host. Now, Mr. Snickety, Will, not with us today. Personal things going on in Will's life right now. We send our love and support out to Will. Hopefully, we have him back next week. So his cam is just going to be empty. It's just a nice blank screen, so stare at that if you want to. Anyway, Snick, we have a lot of matches to recap and a lot more matches to talk about. We're closing in on the end of Stage 2 here as we get ready for Birmingham at the end of March. We are now in March, so it's getting crunch time for some of these teams. Some of these teams got to lock in and really start to secure some wins if they want any chance of making winner's bracket. If you look at the standings right now, the middle part of the bracket is just bunched up with so many different teams that all have chances of making it to Birmingham. I think you can look at the top right now and say OpTic's probably solidified themselves, making it there for sure. I think second place team is 5 wins right now, and I believe that would probably be Thieves.
Thieves have 4 wins.
Thieves have 4. So, Thieves you could probably make an argument for them too, as long as they win their next 2 matches. You can probably lock them in as well. But I think everybody else, there's still a lot of wiggle room for the remainder of these teams. Yeah, so we're gonna have to see what happens. But first off, let's recap these matches, man. We had an interesting weekend this past weekend. A couple of us differed on picks, but overall, a pretty solid weekend for everybody. I know I differed on the OpTic and LA Thieves. You two went OpTic. I went Thieves. Of course, OpTic ended up winning that series. We'll go over the stats for that series as well. For the Boston and Ravens series, he picked Ravens. Both of us picked Boston. Unfortunately, me and you were both wrong in that sense. And there was a couple more Falcons FaZe. I believe I was the only one to pick Falcons, and Falcons ended up winning that one. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if we want to look at this Boston match, talking about picking Boston for it, I mean, Spart the pickup for him, he goes crazy and drops a 1.4 and looks awesome for them. And we'll see maybe the chemistry come together a bit better in their second match. But yeah, once again, out of this match, we got Snoopy struggling big time. And there has been some rumors, like it's been heating up more and more and more, that he might be the next one to go sooner than later.
Yeah.
We'll see how they perform this week, but I'd be interested to see your thoughts on this match.
I mean, at some point you gotta look at what Snoop has done and be like, okay, maybe it's time to pull the plug. I mean, he had 129 damage in map 5 of this series, I believe. 129 damage. So the man shot an ankle on one person, and that's all he did for that whole map, and they got 6-2'd. So, I mean, you got to give credit to Spart, man. 13,000 damage with a 1.4 in this series. You lose the series. 106 kills. I mean, the guy did everything he could, and unfortunately, in the end, it wasn't enough. And I think if you're Boston, you're sitting at 2-4. You're not out of the race yet. But like I said at the beginning, it's becoming crunch time for some of these teams. Boston's one of those teams where, you have to start squeaking out some wins. I kind of like the team chem we have here. They might not have chem themselves right now, but I kind of like the little squad they put together. I got to backtrack on my words about Spart last episode. I was not a big fan of the Spart pickup, and ever since then he's been great for this team. So
he had an incredible weekend for Boston in both matches.
And you hope that Boston team kind of, like you said, starts to fit in a little bit better and they start to really get that chemistry down. I think they could shock some teams if they're able to do that. But unfortunately here, Ravens get the 3-2. I mean, pretty solid series out of everyone on Ravens. Exceed with a .93, the worst on the team. Even then, you'll take that from the Burger King if everybody else is above a positive KD. But, I think this is... I'm way more high on Boston than I am Carolina, even though Boston lost this series. I think there's
I'm with you.
Definitely more of a ceiling for this Boston team than there is for this Carolina team. I think Carolina's going to have a rough weekend this weekend, so we'll see how that goes down. But second match of the weekend, we had Falcons taking on FaZe, and this was one where you and Will both chose FaZe to win this series over Falcons. I had a little stinky feeling that Falcons were going to win this one. And boy, did they. Exited 1.36 KD in the series, absolutely lighting up the kill department. 103 kills. Worst KD in the lobby. In 4 maps, 103 kills. So, insane. Pred with some really good damage output, only 300 damage behind Exnid with almost 20 less kills. So, Pred really had the damage output in this series. Draws with a .75. I don't know about you, Snick. I feel like Draws has just continued his inconsistency throughout the year so far. I mean, you
I think,
haven't seen the Draws of old, that's for sure.
yeah, he's been inconsistent, but I think he's starting to become consistently bad
Yeah.
is the problem. Like he's not even having any of those matches like he had in stage one where he would put up like a 1.1, 1.2. I don't think he's had any of those so far in this stage, and it's going to start to become a real problem. I mean, the hype around the Aluka sub pickup has kind of died down. I'd be curious to see if they continue to struggle. I mean, they're sitting at 2-4. They got to start winning some matches here to guarantee, a spot in this major. And if they don't make it, you got to think they go ahead and make a change. Something's got to give for this team.
Yeah, and like I said, this FaZe team reminds me of the NW3 OpTic team in middle part of the season where they could beat the teams they needed to, but when it came to the teams that actually were solid at the game, they just could not do it. And so right now they're not doing it. Maps 3 and 4 were just blowouts. They weren't even close. So like you said, 2 and 4, and FaZe have a rough weekend ahead. Their 2 matches they play are literally the number 1 and number 2 teams in standings right now. So I mean,
on the other side of this one, although I want to look at Falcons though, and they come out and they make a statement against a team who, we expect to be pretty solid.
yeah.
And I think they are really reaching like a potential grand finals form here. I think they could easily make a run at Major 2 if they just kind of finish off the matches they need to in the qualifiers. I think we'll see them at the Major almost definitely. And I wouldn't be shocked if they went ahead and made a really nice run. I mean, XNID has been going crazy in pretty much every match. He's looks like he's reached his full potential. We keep talking about him as X Factor, but now it's just kind of expected that he's going to be going crazy. So yeah.
I mean, and you're sitting at 3 and 3, so your destiny's in your hands at this point.
Yep.
You've kind of played most of the top competition a little bit so far. You still have a couple more to go, but you definitely have a chance to secure a spot at Major 2. You just don't want to have the same result you had at Major 1 if you do make it to the tournament.
Yep.
Paris Gentlemates took on the rookies in Cloud9, and boy, let me tell you, what a surprise series this was. I mean, I never in a million years would I have guessed that C9 were going to win this series, but they do. They went up 2-0 in this series, and I thought maybe at that point, because every now and then you have that series with a fresh new team where they go up 2-0, and you're like, all right, now the big team's going to wake up. They're going to start handling business. And they did for the next 2 maps, but in Game 5, it was all C9. The Rooks come in, encouraged with a 1.24, 14,000 damage. Sib with a 1.22, but not enough. A crazy series here, Snick, and I'm honestly just kind of surprised that Paris struggled this much in this series.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what much to say other than this is just like a total shock.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit last week about Sib's struggles in hardpoint, and he came out and silenced those doubts. But the rest of the team, they stunk it up. In even the map 4 that they won, like Ghosty he put up a 0.66, Envoy 0.78 in the first map. But I think it's just a case of C9 is starting to get a little more comfortable. They look at Gentlemates like, we got nothing to lose. It's the best one, well, maybe one of the best teams in the league. Let's go out there and give it our best, and they pull it out. They go up 2-0, and they don't let the reverse sweep come to fruition in the map 5.
Yeah, and Hyde with a 2.6 KD in map 5, 13 and 5 out of Hyde. So an insane map 5 to clutch up for C9 and get them their first win. They're still not going to make Birmingham, but they put a wrinkle in Paris Gentlemates' plans to get there, which you just love to see that from a young team here.
Sows a little bit of doubt in Gentlemates' heads, especially with their second match in the weekend.
I was about to say, especially with what happened in their second match, we will get to eventually. Falcons back on the main stage against G2 this time around, and you had Falcons taking down FaZe. Could they take down what we think is a top 3 team in G2? Does not happen. G2 win it in Game 5. G2's S&D has always been their strong suit, in my opinion. It's been what's won them series. In the beginning, their Game 5s were a little rough, but it seems like their S&D has really turned around. All they got to do is just steal that 1 HP. Falcons chowed them on Colossus, made them regret that. And so you win both S&Ds, and you win one respawn, and just like that, Snick, you're a top 3 team still.
Yeah, they kind of silence our doubts from the last weekend, and they come out and make a statement against another really good team in the league right now. And Skies has a very good series. Once again, he's continuing to impress me. I mean, he's any doubt that we had about him last year is just totally gone now. I think he's solidifying himself as one of the better ARs in this game right now. He's just kind of an anchor veteran presence for this G2 team. And it's really impressive to watch, what they've been able to do. Um, these maps were pretty close, except for that map 4 and the map 2, but or actually, really, only map 1 and map 5 were relatively close. But it was a back and forth series, fun to watch. Two really good teams go head to head, and yeah, G2, they get it done in the map 5, but. On the Falcon side, Kismet, a little bit of a rough one with a 0.77, and he'd been recently having some really good series for Falcons, so something to keep an eye on there. He is a stinker, and Falcons can't pull it off.
Yeah, and I agree with the point on Skies, man. Last year, Skies had a really rough year on LAG. And I agree. He's continued to impress on this Minnesota team. It just takes the right combination of players to really activate somebody. I mean, you see it with Scrap and Neum right now. Scrap has played at a much higher level than he's used to when Neum wasn't there. And so I like the G2 team. I like it when G2 is good. Sitting at 3-2 right now. So, again, another team that just controls their destiny. You just got to win the matches you're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto took on Miami. And let me tell you, you want to talk about a team that's on the rise, that are firing on all cylinders, it would be the Toronto Koi. 3-3 right now, but I think they've won 3 in a row, or at least 2 in a row, I know for sure. Another great series from Kips, the rookie, 1.21 in this series. Super on Miami, the only one that did anything with a 1.35. Medals a 0.58 in this series against Koi. The guy practically didn't spawn in. But, I mean, Koi look dominant right now. They look like they're firing. It's fun to see. I always thought that in my mind, even in an episode of the pregame lobby, when Dashy was having his struggles, I was like, it would be a crazy change if you put Kips in for Dashy. And I think it would have worked over on OpTic. But it's good to see Kips having success on Toronto Koi. He looks like he's kind of meshing with Joe Deceives well. Insight's been playing at a higher level since Kips has joined, which is really good to see. It's really weird to see Kleenex as the one that's kind of like picking up the slack a little bit out of all 4 members on this team. But even then, you're going to get at least around an even series out of Kleenex every time he plays. On the Miami side, man, I mean, Medal's a 0.58. That's just not going to win you a lot of series. You got to play better than that. You feel bad for Super. Felt like he was the only one on the map really doing anything. A 1.35 is kind of crazy, especially for how badly they got beat in this 3-0. But it's just, you see a series from Miami that you think, okay, maybe they've arrived, and then something like this happens. You're like, okay, well, maybe not so much. I still like the Miami roster, but still a lot to work on.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, Metals has been kind of that player on Miami that needs to pick it up for them to be one of those competitive mid-pack teams.
Yeah.
Obviously you talked about it already quite a bit about Kips coming in for Toronto, and they just, I think they've just totally taken off. They have won 3 in a row since Kips joined. And they've been really impressing me. They're beating the teams they need to beat. They're being, they're dominating Miami, who's supposed to be a, middle of the pack team. You would expect this match to be a little bit more competitive, and then, all of a sudden switch flips, and Toronto's looking like they could be one of our top 4, top 3 teams at the major.
Yeah, and I've always been a big fan of the Toronto teams. I love Kleenex and Insight. I've been a fan of them since they arrived in BO4. I loved Kips on Huntsman, and it's awesome to see him having success in the league right now. So we'll see if Toronto's run continues through this weekend. Yep. The Vancouver Surge took on the Carolina Royal Ravens. Let me tell you, man, this was ugly. This was not good. 3-0 for Carolina Surge, I think, have solidified themselves. I got to be honest with you, they might be the worst team in the league. I mean,
I think they are. I think they're worst.
It's crazy, but an ass whooping here for Carolina. First time we've seen 8 points in overload in quite some time. It doesn't happen all that often. 0.54 from TJ Halley. Just hang up the sticks, TJ. You've been here long enough, pal. Exceed the Burger King 1.49. Lurks with a 1.44. Everyone on Carolina went insane in this series, Snick. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, and this is what we expected out of the Carolina. We knew from Major 1 online. And Surge, I think they just solidify themselves as, like you said, one of the bottom teams in the league. They're making a roster change. They're bringing in Capsule for Abe. Do I think that makes any difference for them? I really don't. I don't think Capsule moves the needle. And if anything, I think it should have been more than a 1-person change. Like you said, TJ's been a problem for them as well. He hasn't been making the vet plays or being that veteran presence that they need. But yeah, on the other side, Carolina gets a nice moral victory. They're sitting at 3-3, middle of the pack standings. They got, they got their destiny in their hands, like we've been saying.
And we'll see what they could do with it. They don't have an easy road, but we'll see what happens. They have a tough matchup this weekend. OpTic Texas took on the Los Angeles Thieves. I chose Thieves in this series. I thought Thieves were kind of on the come up. They were looking good. I got a question for you, Snick. Why the hell do OpTic keep playing Den Hardpoint? They just keep losing Den Hardpoint. I mean, I feel like
gotta be a map pool test, huh?
I mean,
Right?
I don't know what's going. Either they feel super confident on it in scrims and just can't win it in a match, or I don't know what's happening. But Den Hardpoint, I'm tired of seeing OpTic lose map 1 on Den Hardpoint. But it doesn't matter if you rip off the next 3 in very convincing fashion like they did. 6-2 in Search, 4-2 in Overload, 250 to 173 on Hardpoint Colossus. Scrappy, 0.79. He's human. We don't see this often from Scrap. A 0.79 is not a stat line you'd really see, but 11,000, almost 11,400 damage from Scrap. He had the damage, but the kills just weren't falling his way. A 1.26 from Dashy, 1.27 from Shotzi. It's kind of a Mercules layoff series. Perk didn't have to really do anything here. It's good to see a 1.26 from Dashy. I feel like we haven't seen Dashy kind of hit those numbers in a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know if it was just Thieves firing him up and he wanted to show why he still had it, but a good series from him. You still getting that consistent respawn play from Hook. I think Hook has been a really standout player so far in this stage. Hook's played really well. Past couple of series, shots he's been on point. This is a very dangerous OpTic team if you let them get to the point they're at now, especially if they get better at S&D. You get a very convincing S&D win here. I think their map count right now is like 18-4 or something like that in Stage 2. It's something along those lines.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they have an insane map count right now in Stage 2. They're the only undefeated team left. They're 6-0. In my opinion, probably the best team in the game right now.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that back at the end of Stage 1, you had Gentlemates who looked like head and shoulders above everyone else, and then OpTic was right there with them, but the S&D was just so much better. Now it seems like Gentlemates has kind of taken 2 steps back, and OpTic's taken 3 steps forward, and it feels like OpTic's back on top of the world. But only matters if you can do it on land. But a great start for OpTic, 6-0. You got 2 matches that you probably should win this weekend. If you win both of them, you definitely solidify yourself probably number 1 seed, even with the remainder of the matches. And so on the other side, Thieves, I mean, again, a series you don't really get out of Scrap all that often. A 0.79, you don't really see that. So I'm not going to chalk it up to a bad series for Scrap. I think you're playing OpTic. So, I mean, if you let Shotzi and you let Dashy do that, then obviously it's going to be very tough to win.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now, far and away, OpTic is the best team. And if I'm being honest, I don't know who's going to be able to beat them for the rest of the stage and at the major. Like, we talk about Gentlemates being second. They've been faltering. They lost 2 in a row this weekend.
They might not even be second anymore.
No, they might not. And, if we could be talking about Koi or G2 being up there replacing them. But
yeah. I
don't see, I don't see anybody beating OpTic in the form that they're in right now. Like, you talked a little about Merc just having had his feet kicked up on the desk in this series, just watching everybody around a fry, and they still get it done, and they do it in a dominant fashion. Like if they win that map 1 on a den that they've struggled on so far this year, it's a 3-0 in disgusting fashion. This team has really impressed me, and I don't know much more to say about them except keep glazing them because they've just been disgusting.
Yeah, but, and I gotta tell you, when I see Hardpoint and Colossus in the rotation in an OpTic series, I'm just wondering why the hell are you squaring up? Every OpTic Colossus I've seen, they've just slammed everybody they've played, and so I feel like the Den Hardpoint thing is them thinking if we can get Den down, we're not gonna lose a respawn, and so. I see that they played a lot. They only lost it by 12 points in map 1. But
they are 1-5 on Den Hardpoint for the record.
They're not good at Den, which is why, like I said, I'm so shocked they just keep playing it. They keep playing the map, and we've heard pros say in the past, like for some reason in the match it just doesn't work, but in scrims they're just slamming everybody on it, and so it might just be a little mental block with that map. But if you could do what you did the next 3 maps, that map 1 doesn't mean anything. So. Toronto Koi took on the Paris Gentlemates, and this was the series where a question mark started to arise for Gentlemates, where it was like, okay, you had a stinker against C9. You probably lost a series you shouldn't have lost. Let's see the bounce back. Let's see it. And the bounce back did not happen. Koi 3-0. It was a close 3-0. Maps 1 and map 2 were close. 250, 241 map 1, 6-5 round 11 search and destroy on map 2. But again, Joe Deceives 1.2, Kips with a 1.1. I mean, this duo right now seems like they're firing on all cylinders. Kips with the most damage in the lobby, 9,300. Most damage by almost 1,000 at Neptune with 88. But again, I mean, just a series where Kleenex, he was the worst KD on Koi, but he had a 0.95. And if Kleenex is a 0.95 and everybody else is positive, yeah, of course. You're going to be hard-pressed to see Toronto lose a series. It seems like I said, Insight seems like he's been enabled with the roster change. Envoy, 0.69. He had a really rough weekend, Envoy did. And so this is a series you're probably looking at that 0.69 thinking, you know what, if that's a 0.9, this series probably is a lot closer than what it shows. But at the end, Toronto, another big win, and Paris, like you said, kind of faltering.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit. It was close. It's one of the closer 3-0s you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right. It's a 9-point finish in the map 1. It's a round 11 in the map 2. Insight really, saying F you to the drop rumors that we've had the last couple of weeks. At the end of map 1, I think he had like a 3-piece or a 4-piece or something to solidify the hill. And they were able to get the win off of it. And he drops a 1.35 in that map 1. And yeah, keep talking about it. Koi's been really impressive on the other side. I'm a little bit, there was some talk on the OpTic watch party about Paris being kind of, having some mental, lock-in issues if things aren't going their way. And I'd be curious to see how they bounce back in on this weekend. But something to keep an eye out for. Does Mates continue to fall, or are they able to turn it around?
Yeah, we're going to have to see. FaZe Vegas took on the Boston Breach, and again, man, this is just one of those things. You look at this, and you're just like, how is this happening? Why is this happening? Boston, 3-1 series win over FaZe. FaZe dominate map 1, 250 to 77. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, okay, this is going to be quick. Boston's about to get slammed. And then Boston just ran the table the next 3 maps. Spart with a 1.2. Again, got to give him his flowers. The guy's dropped on this team, and he has put numbers up every single time. And he did again this series. We got a little bit of a flashback of Simp being the only one on FaZe that could do anything with a 1.2, but not enough. I got to tell you, man, I think you're going to see FaZe in that bottom 4 playing for the last 2 spots to make it to Major 2. With this weekend they got coming up, man, I don't see them winning a match this weekend with the 2 teams they're playing. That would put you at 2-6, and you got what, 1 maybe 2 weekends left after this weekend here. I think 2. Yeah, 2, because I'm lining everything up with MLB The Show 26's release right now. So yeah, it is 2. But I mean, if you lose both the matches this weekend, I mean, you are in big trouble to making this tournament. You gotta win the next 4 if you want even a remote chance of like just qualifying yourself without putting yourself in the bottom 4. And with Boston, you're 2-4. You're the same as FaZe, but like we said earlier, I think you're kind of seeing a little bit of spirit from the Breach. If they can just knock up maybe 2 more wins to put themselves closer, and a couple more dominoes fall their way, we can see them at Major 2. Right now, I'm way more like on the worry side of FaZe than I am on the upside of Boston. This is bad if you're a FaZe member. If you're a FaZe fan, 2-4 with the next 2 matches you have is not a good spot to be in.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And like I said a little bit earlier, this Boston team, maybe they're clicking a little bit. Maybe FaZe is just faltering a little bit. But yeah, not all 2-4 records are built the same. Boston's kind of on the come up, FaZe, on the come down, and it's tough to see Simp continually drop these good series, and the rest of the team around him just continues to struggle. I mentioned Aluka a little bit earlier, but I almost think if they continue to look like this, it's going to need to be nearly a full team change. Draza and O4, namely, the 2 of them have just not looked good, really at all, the whole stage, and even previously in Major 1. But yeah, on the other side, let's give Boston a little bit of our flowers. Like, they get slammed in map 1, and everybody's thinking the same thing. It's going to be a super quick 3-0, and they come out and, do the impossible, make us look like idiots, and Spart just looks like one of the best players in the game right now. So we'll see what they can do this weekend. But I'm a little bit, yeah, like you said, I'm a little bit more worried about FaZe than I am believing in Breach so far.
I would like to point out yet again that I said the 0-4 pickup was a bad one at the beginning of the year. Anyway, Miami taking on Cloud9. We were hoping Cloud9 would have a little bit of juice after that miraculous win over Gentlemates, and that did not happen. Miami beat the shit out of them. 1.62 from Rencor in this series. Guy absolutely laid sack. 0.63 from Okus. Not good. I mean, not much to say about this series here, Nick. This was just straight dominance. This was a pro team beating an AM team at this rate.
Yeah, and this is why I'm a little bit more on the side of Mates is kind of going through some mental struggles right now, as opposed to Cloud9 was more impressive. But I mean, at the end of the day, they won the series, so you got to give them a little bit of credit. But yeah, Miami comes out, and this is again where you're like, Miami, what are you? Like, are you a good team? Are you a bad team? Are you just like a mid team that has good series and bad series? But yeah, Rancor has a super good series, 1.62, and Super has a good series also. But yeah, it's one of those where it's just, you know, the expected outcome at the end of the day. But yeah, I don't know.
Gentlemates might have had the whole Riyadh beating OpTic last year in Black Ops 6 during the 0-18 map count run type of series where they just lose to the team they shouldn't lose to. Everybody's like, what the fuck is that? What's going on? Now, obviously, nothing will be as worse as the 0-18 map count run that OpTic had. But, you know, I think I agree with you. I think this is more of Gentlemates just kind of are not all there right now, more than it was Cloud9 being good. And it shows in this series as Miami dominated. So,
but still, I am like interested in Cloud9 and what they can do.
Yeah,
obviously, but yeah, point stands.
They'll be in the bottom four for sure.
Yeah,
Vancouver taking on OpTic. You want to talk about another DoorDash? Here's another DoorDash for you. OpTic 3-0, 1.54 from Hook. I gotta tell you, man, Hook has been unreal so far this stage. I think every single series he's been positive, if not very close to positive, so far in this series or in this stage. Dominance from top to bottom. Everyone on OpTic positive. Dashy with another good series, 1.35. 8.66, like you said, he's been removed from the roster. He had a really bad weekend in both the series they played. Again, not much to talk about. This was the number 1 team beating the number 12 team.
Yep, this is a case of just, you know, a difference of skill and just overall ability and everything. Just totally disgusting series. Not much to talk about. Let's get on to predictions.
True. Yeah. Let's get on to the predictions indeed. Usually our matches our episodes are going at a lot slower pace, but I gotta tell you, with 2 people, I didn't realize how much faster it actually is. Yeah. You got 3 people with 3 different opinions. You gotta sit down and talk through all of them, which I enjoy the longer episodes anyway, because it just gives you more thoughts and more matches and stuff to break down. So
more conversation.
Exactly. But like you said, let's get into the predictions, Nick. We got some interesting matches this weekend and some boring ones this weekend, but I gotta tell you, this first one, kind of interesting. We got Vancouver taking on Cloud9.
It's a toilet bowl.
The toilet bowl, man. The absolute shitters down here. Both 1-4, looking for their second win. I said earlier, I think Surge might be the worst team in the game now. I think Cloud9 could possibly be better. I'm taking Surge 3-2 over Cloud9. They might look bad. I think Surge have just the veteranship to win this series. I think they're going to will it their way in Game 5.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I'm gonna go with a heart pick here and go C9 3-1 on my end. You know, like I said, I'm still interested in C9 and what they could do, but and I do think Surge is the worst team. You know, making a roster change, bringing in Capsule could provide a spark for them, especially in a series against the fellow bottom 12 team. But yeah, it should be I think it's gonna be like a pretty interesting series to watch, actually.
It could definitely go 5 for sure. Thieves taking on the FaZe Vegas. Usually this type of series would be super, super exciting. Both top teams going at it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be all that exciting. I have Thieves 3-1. I don't think it's going to be really all that close. I think you can probably give FaZe maybe the S&D. I gave them 1 to be generous. It could easily be a 3-0 to Thieves. I mean, and we could just be shocked and FaZe could just show up and win. But I don't think that's going to happen. I got Thieves.
Yep, I got Thieves 3-1. Same logic as you. I think FaZe is just struggling a little bit too much for my liking, and Thieves has looked pretty good since Liam came into the fold.
Miami and G2 going at it on this fine Friday, I believe, final match of the night. It would be a big win for Miami if you're able to win this series. That would put you at 3-3. You'd be right there in the middle. You control your own destiny. For G2, it'd solidify you into the top 3, at least top 4 for sure if you get the win. And I think they do just that. I do think G2 win this series. I think G2 go Game 5 again because they're so good at going Game 5. But I think their S&D is just better, and I have them winning at 3-2.
I'm going to go G2 3-2 in this one. I think this is a battle of teams who are probably on the same level right now. Like you said, G2 just always goes Game 5, and I do think it's going to end up being a coin flip in that map 5. But if Paris, I'm going G2 because of what we've talked about and Paris's potential mental struggles going on right now in their slide.
We move into Saturday. Paris Gentlemates and G2. Talk about back-to-back G2.
Wait. I was picking that Paris G2 series. I'm out of my mind.
I imagine you picked G2 for Miami anyway. So.
Yeah, I did. G2 3-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know Snick's pick for G2 in Paris. He goes 3-2 to G2.
Yep.
I'm going to go 3-2 to Paris. I think you're going to have a bounce-back weekend, and this is the match you're going to have to do it in. I think at your pinnacle, Paris is obviously the better team in this scenario. Can you get upside your mental struggles you have right now and find a way to win this series? You need to win this series if you're Paris. And I just feel like they're gonna bounce back. They're gonna find a way to do it because I think it's their only match this weekend. No, they have one more, which that one they should hopefully definitely win. But I think Paris just have a little bit of a turnaround. Wouldn't be shocked at a G2 win whatsoever, but I'm going to give Paris just a little bit of love here, and I'm going to think they make a comeback. OpTic taking on FaZe. I got to be honest with you, man. This is kind of similar to the Thieves OpTic or the Thieves FaZe series for me. I think you have one team that is at the absolute pinnacle of the game right now, the best in the game probably, and you've got one team that has a really big identity crisis. I've got OpTic 3-1 in this series. Maybe OpTic lose the search just because they've had some search issues in the past. I think OpTic are the far better respawn team right now. I just don't see a way FaZe even win the respawn.
Yeah, I'm going OpTic 3-1 in this one, but I think it could very easily be a 3-0.
Yeah.
Like you said, all the same reasons.
Koi and Falcons could be an interesting series. Both teams 3-3. Again, controlling their own destinies. Koi on a little 3-win streak with Kips. I got to tell you, man, I love this Koi team. I love Kips. I love everything they're doing right now. And I'm going to keep showing them love. I got Koi 3-1.
Yeah, I got Koi 3-2 in this one. I think this could probably be the best series of the weekend. Going to go the distance. Going to be, a hard-fought battle, both back and forth. Both teams 3-3 need the win to qualify for the major. I'm going Koi 3-2.
We get to see C9 again, but they're taking on the Boston Breach, and this might even be a quicker DoorDash than Miami C9. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I think Boston's better than Miami. I'm going to say it right now. I think the potential for Boston, if they click over the next few matches, could be better than Miami. I got Boston 3-1. Again, kind of being just generous to Cloud9 here. It's probably going to be 3-0 to Boston, especially if Spark keeps playing the way he's been playing. If you can get Snoopy to be activated like he was in that last series, you could see a really good Boston team here. I got Boston 3-1.
Yeah, I got Boston 3-1 as well. I think C9 could come out and win the first map hardpoint or something. But yeah, I think Boston, especially with that Spark roster change, they've looked really good. Even in their loss, their first match this past weekend, they looked pretty good. Or Spark did at least, and then they come out and pull out the win. So I'm going to go Boston 3-1 in this one. I think it's a case of team clicking at the right time, and Cloud9's just one of the worst teams.
Yeah. The Miami Heretics taking on the Los Angeles Thieves. You want to talk about what could become an interesting series if Thieves aren't careful? It could be this one. Again, we're just so many question marks around this Miami team, man, and I feel like we're just gaining more questions every weekend rather than we are gaining answers. I like that the resurgence Thieves has been on. I don't think you're going to see another 0.7 from Scrap anytime soon. I got Thieves 3-1.
I'm going to go Thieves 3-0. Yeah, I just don't really have any faith in Miami right now. When one of them pops off, the rest of the team struggles. When two of them pop off, the other two struggled. It's just no consistency over there, and I think Thieves pull it out.
I agree. Toronto Koi taking on the Boston Breach. as much as I love the ceiling you have now for this Boston team, I love the ceiling for this Toronto team more. I've got Toronto 3-1 in this series. I think you're going to continue that win streak. I think this will solidify you as a top 4 team after this weekend. I got Toronto.
Yep, I got Toronto 3-1. I think it could be a pretty close 3-1. But yeah, we've been glazing Toronto a lot right now, and I think
I just love Kips, man. That kid brings a lot of energy.
He does bring a lot of energy.
And he's very good.
He's been really good.
And like I said, I had a discussion with Will in a previous episode where when Dashy was struggling, I was like, is it crazy to pull Kips into the AR spot for Dashy? And now I look like a genius because he's doing this. So
replace Zinni over there as the GM.
What can I say, man? No, we wouldn't have Perk 30 if I was over there. OpTic taking on Carolina. If you looked at me at stage 1 and asked me about this series, I'd say Carolina all the way. It's stage 2, and I've got OpTic 3-0 in Carolina. Again, I think OpTic are the best team in the game. I think OpTic are getting better at S&D. Let me tell you this right now. OpTic are 16-8 in S&D, by the way. Which, for me, I kind of shocked. I'm not going to lie. Their worst map is Den, 1-4. Fucking surprise, surprise. Apparently they're bad at that map no matter what they're playing on. But I just don't see a way that Carolina keep this close. They've had a really struggling split so far. Even sitting at 3-3, I think this is going to get ugly. I think Perk 30 drops a 1.3. I think OpTic slam.
Yeah, I have an OpTic 3-0 as well. Thinking about it a little bit, I think this could be a little bit closer, but OpTic, we've just been glazing them nonstop. They're just the best team in the game. Carolina hasn't proven much this split. I think it's going to be a 3-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 3-1.
And our final match of the weekend, the Vancouver Surge taking on the Paris Gentlemates. I had DoorDash. I don't think this is going to be even close. Surge are 4-12 in Hardpoint. They're 4-13 in S&D, and they're 1-10 in Overload. So, yeah, I don't think there's any way in hell they win this series. I got this probably pretty quick one, 25 minutes.
Yeah, Paris 3-0 easily. Now, I'll tell you what, if they come out and lose this series, I'm never picking Paris again for against any of the bottom teams.
Someone better get dropped. That's all I'm fucking saying. So
yeah,
you lose this, someone better get dropped. But I think at the end of this weekend, you're going to see OpTic at 8-0, solidifying themselves as the number 1 seed for the tournament. There's no way that doesn't lock them in for number 1 seed. I'm pretty sure.
No shot.
So
yeah, and I got Koi at 5-3 after this weekend, which I think. Depending on what Thieves does, that should put them top 3 for sure.
Yeah. And if it goes the G2 way like you say it will, that'll put G2 at 6-2, I believe. Or no, 5-2.
5-2, yep.
So that they're right there up there, man. I think the biggest things you take away from what could happen this weekend is, number 1, OpTic are looking dangerous. It seems like they're getting better every series, and this is kind of turning into the OpTic you saw at the end of Black Ops 6, where they were just running everybody and running the table and winning all the tournaments. So if you're every other team, you got to be careful of that. The other thing is FaZe, man. You could have a potential 2-6 FaZe team at the end of this weekend. If that doesn't warrant a roster change before the remainder of the matches in Split 2, I don't know what would. You have to go up against Thieves and OpTic, and right now I just think you look 10 times worse than both of those teams. I think you could have a slight chance in the Thieves series. I don't think you have any chance in the OpTic series. So it looks dangerous for FaZe going into this weekend. You have to win one of these. I just don't think you can, and what happens after that is a mystery. Other than that, I feel like everything's kind of playing out the way it's been playing out. Koi's on a little bit of a run. G2's hanging in there. They have really close series, but they're closing them. It's going to be interesting to see how the remainder of this stage closes out. Like I said, I think we're going to get a little bit more solidity after this weekend on who's going to be where. But closing thoughts, Nick. I mean, this puts us past halfway for the split. So we're getting there. We have some interesting weekends coming up. I mean, I know on our personal side, a lot of fun weekends coming up, at least for me.
Oh yeah.
We got some game launches. We got some entertaining streams and content coming around, and of course we got the CDL. So I mean, next weekend's gonna be we got the World Baseball Classic. We got 2 baseball guys right here now.
Good. We're spoiled.
We're spoiled right now. These next 2-3 weekends are gonna be great, and then you hit the Birmingham Major at the end of the month. So it kind of just nice little cherry on top for the month of March. But any closing comments, man? Anything you want to point out?
I think all I want to say right now is we've got, let me look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 teams sitting at 2 or 3 wins. And this weekend, I think we're going to see a lot of separation. You know, we're going to see the cream start to rise to the top, and we're going to see, the shit kind of fall to the bottom. Um, and I think we're going to start to see how the bracket's going to start to play out. What teams are going to have to play in that play in. And there's a lot of teams that are in that mix.
Yeah.
So I'm just keep an eye on what happens, and we could have some surprises, solidifying themselves in the top. We could have some surprises solidifying themselves on the bottom. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting weekend, and we're going to really start to see the bracket take shape.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it because it all leads up to a London major, and the UK majors are always a good time. Unfortunately for me, I'll miss most of the tournament, but it is what it is. It's still going to be fun either way. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Again, of course, we hope Will is back with us next week. Of course, he had some personal things. And, of course, we will never put any precedence of the show over anybody's personal life. So all love to Will. We hope to have him back next week recapping some matches. Of course, I will get his predictions as well. We'll keep up with all the predictions. Don't worry. I didn't even say what the records were. They're on screen so everybody could see them. But I think Snick was 22-10. At the end of last weekend, I was 49-44, and Will was 51-42. So some decent records there. None of us had a really insane weekend last weekend, but hoping to turn that around this weekend. Again, if you enjoyed, hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want to see more new episodes every single Friday as long as the CDL season is going. I'm Trep. That's Snick. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully with the return of Will. Enjoy the matches. Peace out.
See ya.